All right, welcome back to Bruins game reactions. I'm calling this the autopsy edition. Uh, Today we're going to go through what exactly went wrong with this team and basically throughout different points in the season what happened. We're going through it like an autopsy. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Relatively freshly shaven for the Providence Bruins playoff run that starts tonight. Kicking it right off, right from the start. The Jeremy Swayman contract, that riding into the summer. Even before then, you could, if you really want to start it, you could start it at the Linus Allmark trade. Getting in return a first-round pick, Jonas Korpisalo, and Mark Kastelik. The return's not great. Watching the first two games of the playoffs, of which Ottawa is a part of, I'm not saying anything, but at the same time, I'm saying he's got an 870 career save percentage. That's not good. So yeah, obviously you don't get a great return on it, even though I don't hate it personally. That basically swings the pendulum into Jeremy Swayman's favor, gives him all the leverage in the world, finally get a deal done right before the season starts. And immediately, Swayman comes out of the gate, does not look good in the slightest. Of the 8 games Swayman played in the month of October, he had 3 of them above a 905, not only above a 905, above a 920. His lowest of those 3 games was a 927. It's the rest of them in the month of October you got to look at. Starts off with a 6-4 win against Montreal, only an 833. That's frankly not good enough. Then you get a 971 against LA, 846 against Florida, 938 against Utah, 927 against Nashville, Dallas, Toronto, Carolina, final 3 games, ate him alive like it was nothing. 871, 870, and a 727. That was the Halloween game. 8-2. Swayman played half that game. Time on ice, 29-32. You have such a good young goalie, and he's going to go through growing pains, this being his first year as a starter. He still managed to play 58 games, which I expect that number to be just about the same next season, if not a bit higher. Just not great, really. Overall, he ended the season with an 892. Looking at it from a big picture standpoint, he also had 4 shutouts. An 892 is not terrible. It really isn't, considering he went right to the edge of training camp with the contract negotiations and got off to a bad start. He did improve. He improved a fair bit throughout the year. The month of March was a bit rough. And the first half of April was really good. The final 2 games, that's a little less so for him. 800 and 808. But up until that point, he had an 875 against Washington, 903, 975, 905. That stretch of 3 games right there, that's a good sign, in my opinion, for next season. All 3 of those were against playoff teams, albeit New Jersey's injured. Montreal barely snuck in. Whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna say that was a very big factor in this. Getting later on in the video. Not having your starting goalie there for training camp, it's tough. And then obviously, 20 games in, Jim Montgomery gets fired. I believe it was the right move. I wasn't a huge fan of it at the time. I believe it was the right move. Was Joe Sacco the correct coach? Not necessarily. I believe, though, that Jim Montgomery was the right guy to fire at the time, because he had lost the room. He was not getting the most out of the guys, and Marchand and Pasternak are two very key players in that. Just couldn't get through to them, couldn't get through the rest of the room. His time as Bruins head coach had come and gone. You can say, oh, well, look, he's in the playoffs, you're not, oh, you're down at the bottom of the Atlantic, whatever. And to that I say the Blues were pretty close to a playoff spot when he got hired anyways. Like, you're not, that's not that big of a flex. It's not nearly as big as you think it is. There's a lot that goes into it, obviously. I don't hate the firing. Am I happy for him in St. Louis? Yes. Am I happy for St. Louis? Absolutely not. For 2019, that should be enough. Yes, it's been 6 years. Yes, I'm still pissed. Deal with it. Moving on. Next big point. Hampus Lindholm going down in, I believe, mid-November. That hurt this team a lot. Not only that, losing Charlie McAvoy later on in the year. I believe he missed some time early on in this season as well. Once Lindholm went down, you knew Lohrei was going to have to step up. He did. People aren't going to like that. I think he stepped up, and he stepped up pretty well. I know he led the team in plus minus, was the lowest on the team in plus minus at minus 42, I think it was. And I mean that's growing pains. Since I've mentioned McAvoy, I'll bring him in as well right now. Going in a bit of a reverse order here. When you look at it, this team lost their top pair of defensemen. And you'll say, oh, well, Lindholm was second pair. And to that, I'll say, okay, everything's equal. Lindholm's top pair with McAvoy, Mason Lohrei, and Nikita Zadorov on the second pair. You lost your top pairing defenseman. You lost a pair of guys that can play half an hour a night. Guys that you need to play half an hour a night to be successful. And Mason Lohrei, to his credit, looked really rough once the load started to get put on him more. I've mentioned it in a few of my reaction videos. His play improved throughout the season. I liked it. Obviously, the numbers are going to disagree with me on it. I think he's gotten better all throughout the season, and that's all you can ask for a guy who is playing in only his first full year in the NHL. He's not going to be perfect. Like, we knew he was going to be flawed coming in. We just kind of thought that he would maybe have a bit more protection like McAvoy did when he came into the league. Unfortunately, he didn't. Kind of got thrown out to the Wolves. I believe that's made him a better player, though, throughout the entire season. And that's all you can ask from him. You can ask from him to try every day, improve. And I think that, in my opinion, that's what he did. He improved all throughout the season. Took a couple steps back, but you expect that when you're given such a heavy workload. McAvoy, Lindholm going down. I just finished watching the end-of-season press conference. Both McAvoy and Lindholm should be good to go for opening night of the 2025-26 season. Obviously, you hope that's going to hopefully bode a bit better for this team. Next up, the power play. The power play was a big killer for this team. It was never good. And I went back and I watched some of the failed power plays that they had. It became too predictable. Like, I could watch a minute and a half of film from a power play, and I could tell you exactly what they were going to do. They were going to pass the puck to Pasternak. He was going to stand in his spot, his little OV spot, and he was going to either rip it or he was going to take a slap shot. He might pass. There's like a 4% chance that he would pass. It became way too predictable. It was get the puck to Pastrnak, let him put it on. Is Pastrnak a good player? Yes, I will die on that hill. Yes, he is. He is a top 5 player in this league. I will definitely fight that hill. Is David Pastrnak Alex Ovechkin? No. Should David Pastrnak be shooting the puck every time he gets it? Absolutely. Should David Pastrnak be getting the puck every time on the power play? No. I say that, yes, he's the best player on the team. No, it's not particularly close. Frankly, it's not close. He had more points than his 2 line mates combined, being Zacha and Geekie. It's not close. He is the best player on this team, bar none. It can't be that predictable. You need another scoring threat. I hope that's what Boston is going to go out and do. I'm working on what my ideal offseason would look like. Do I expect Boston to follow this? No, not at all. That's going to be in a different video, though. It just became way too predictable and not good enough to the point where one man can take on the 4 defenders that are there and still be able to score. Sometimes Pastrnak was able to. Very often he wasn't, though. You need more scoring threats on the power play, and you need to spread them out across both units. I loved Mason Lohrei's power play quarterbacking abilities, especially towards the end of the year. Like I said, I think he's gotten better all throughout. Moving on, the free agency signings. Again, you could put this at the start of the year, at the beginning of this video. I think it comes in here nicely with the power play. Seeing as Zadorov ended up quarterbacking a power play for a few months there. So, Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov were the 2 big power play were the 2 big signings that Boston made this offseason. Elias Lindholm had 41 points in this season. That's not terrible. That might very well be what a $6 million guy gets you when this deal's done. Was it good enough? Quite frankly, not. It was dropped that he was dealing with a back issue all throughout the year that started in August. And that raises multiple red flags. I have a lot of questions about that. First one being, why was he not sat the minute Boston was eliminated? Because A, helps you with tanking. Why not? B, you know that you're out of it. Like, mathematically, you're out of it. Pull him from the lineup. Put him on IR. Sure, have the NHL investigate him. Whatever. Teams do it all the time. There's no issue with it. Although, apparently, now there is an issue with it. I don't understand that, personally. He should not have been playing if he was as injured as they made it seem. That was just immediately a red flag. Nikita Zadorov, he had a bad year. He looked terrible in the first half of the year. Now, in saying that, once Boston was able to trade and acquire Henry Jokiharju, it wasn't terrible. I think Zadorov's play really improved. I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint why. Might have been because he wants to be a more offensive defenseman, and Boston needed that. I'm pretty sure they were 25th in the league in points from the back end. Again, Lindholm, McAvoy both being out, that does not help. But once Henry Jokiharju was acquired by Boston, that pairing that ended up being the second pairing, I think looked really well. They played well together. They looked very good on the ice. Nice one. That's just the same thing you just said. If Yokiharu is to come back, which it sounds like he wants to come back, so get a deal done with that, please. The pairing should be McAvoy with, I don't know, McAvoy with X. Leave that open. Lindholm, Lowry, or have McAvoy with Lowry. Pick your poison on that one. Yokiharu, Zadorov, which I guess would leave Peak, Witherspoon, Callahan, I think was the 7th defenseman, so one of those guys, with Charlie McAvoy. Or maybe you move them around. I know Lindholm's getting older. You bring him back, put him on the third pair, put him in with Peak, because I personally think that Peak is going to be a big part of this organization once they get their act together. Now, moving to the trade deadline, which I've kind of nibbled on throughout this video. I'm going to get the big guy out of the way. Trading Brad Marchand. Man, I don't even know how to say this. I've said what needs to be said about it. It sucks, obviously. The return's not great. He was also injured at the time, so the return was going to be less. The return could be decent, though, if Florida makes the conference final and Brad plays at least 50% of the games for Florida. If it ends up becoming a first-round pick, I'm not going to hate it. It's going to be a good deal. It just really sucks that it had to be Brad that brought that pick in. But at the same time, it was time. This kind of not necessarily blew the core up, but it took parts of it away. The next big deal would probably be Brandon Carlo getting shipped off to Toronto. Toronto's already starting to not like him, so have fun there, bud. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, he played great here. I wasn't a huge fan of him this season, but in seasons past, I haven't hated him. This season just wasn't his best. The haul for him, though, that is absolutely absurd, especially from a divisional rival. I mean, hopefully Boston's able to do something with these guys. Fraser Minton, you obviously hope to be a big part of this team in the future. I have him on the next season's NHL roster right from training camp. You never know. Unfortunately, I think they're going to let the young guys play. I think this is going to be a playoff team next season. Just not necessarily going to do anything. Joe Sacco at Bruins breakup day, or locker cleanout day, I guess, whatever, held at their practice facility. He said that he hasn't received any clarity on his future as head coach. That has since changed, and it sounds like he will not be back, although he has got his hand in the ring for the running as head coach. Boston is going to be taking their time to look around, see their options. One thing I ask, please don't hire John Tortorella. John Tortorella, Joel Quenneville, those are two guys that anyone but them. Hire me over them, honestly. I don't think they're good for this team. John Tortorella does not work with young guys that well. This team's going to be full of them next season. And Joel Quenneville, I shouldn't have to explain more than the 2011, I think, Blackhawks. If you watch hockey enough, you know. The Minnesota Wild trade. Boston acquired Jacob Lauko, don't know why I keep saying Jakob, and Marat Husnudinov from Minnesota. Husnudinov does want to come back as a Bruin. I didn't hate his game, honestly. It was a step up from his time in Minnesota, albeit in a significantly smaller sample size. It's not terrible, though. As for Jacob Lauko, as fun as it was, I don't think the time's now. It was great watching him. He's a fun player to watch on the ice. Just unfortunately, he doesn't fit in well with this team as much as he does. I mean, he's a big guy. He's heavy. That was what this team was this year, though, and they went into this team heaviest or second heaviest in the season, and they end up top 5 in the draft. So getting guys who are heavy, probably not the best idea. As for the rest of it, though, scoring needs to be improved, and from the media availability I just watched, it sounds like they want to improve on it, specifically up the wings. I think the center depth is going to be fine. You got Patra, you got Minton. Those guys will grow into their roles, and from there they will figure it out, and I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah, just trying to think. Korpisalo, I mean, he's a pretty big talking point, really. He looked good. I don't have many complaints with him. First year in the non-Senators organization. I know he played for the Kings and I think Anaheim, maybe. I don't know. I knew he played. I didn't realize he was still playing by the time he got traded to Boston. Apparently he is. I don't hate seeing Linus Ullmark get traded. What I hate is getting another goalie in return. Maybe it lessens the deal. Maybe you don't get a first-round pick. Maybe Mark Haslick doesn't become Boston Bruin, another guy who's fit in really well with this organization. Had concussion symptoms towards the end of the season. That's why he didn't play. He says that he should be good to go for the start of next season, though, so that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I like watching Korpisalo play. I think he's a good goalie. Just why? You have 2 guys in the AHL who are absolute rock stars, and you don't even give one of them a sniff at the league. That, to me, is an issue. I don't understand how you went through this entire season, not even like in illness, like on a second half of back-to-back or something. Oh, someone got an illness and they can't go tonight. Gotta make an emergency call-up. You couldn't find a way to sneak one of those guys in? Really? I think they're both going to be good goalies. They're probably both going to be good NHL goalies. You look at Dan Vladar out in Calgary. Oh, hello. Hi. He's looked pretty good as a backup. Not a great backup, but he's been a solid backup. I mean, Michael DiPietro this season, I believe in his age 25 season, had a .927 in the AHL. Man, I would love to see one of those guys be on this team next season. And I think at the very least, if you miss the playoffs by a couple points, it's not the end of the world. Fans aren't going to like hearing this, but it's not, quite frankly. You got to give one of the kids a chance, man. Sign one of them, please. Because I'm assuming they're going to let Korpisalo walk to free agency, and then what are you going to do? You're going to draft a goalie? Why waste a draft pick when you have 2 perfectly good goalies down in Providence? I'm not going to be able to judge on that personally. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all the big points. That's kind of what went wrong. The Marchand injury as well didn't help. Yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. Click like if you like. Click subscribe if you enjoyed. The offseason has officially begun. End of season press conferences have been had. End of season media availabilities for all the players have been had. Now it's time for the front office to get to work.